travel.
All right, have a seat.
Sure.
This was ordered by my
Way too much.
Try to do things together.
Hello everyone, welcome to MNB World Talk Show. Today we have invited a very special lady who has over 20 years of experience in educational research, educational management and policy development. Well, this lady sitting beside me is Executive Director of Mongolian Academy for Higher Education Development, Ms. Orkhon Gantogtokh. Well, I have to add something because she is my very first English teacher who taught me ABC when I was in 5th grade. Well, hello, good to see you, teacher.
Very good to see you. It's a great honor for me to be interviewed by student back 20 years later.
Well, honor is mine. Let's start our conversation with very simple question but very big topic. What is education to you?
In my opinion, education it's not just knowledge and skills you acquire at the institutions, educational institutions. It is education means how you use those knowledge and skills for the betterment of the society, and the quality of your education is measured by your contribution to the society and your contribution towards the people's, to improvement the quality of the people's lives.
Well, you've studied education and you've done your master's degree in University of Oxford. And around the globe, people talk about Oxford. And can you tell us why Oxford is different than other big, great universities around the world?
So, as an educational researcher, it was really interesting for me to learn what the students' students' experiences like in the world top university. So there are so many world top universities, but why Oxford I chose? Because the Oxford is, I think, is the best kind of example of integration of traditional medieval university and modern research university. And Oxford is, has been ranked on top first according to the Times Higher Education University World Rankings. So as a researcher specialized in the higher education, I want to learn how modern research university functions and what are the key to the success of those research universities. That was my main drive to choose the Oxford.
You have chosen to become a teacher. Why chose education in the first place? And how old were you?
Yeah, so I think my parents, they are both teachers and they are the great influencer for me to become a teacher. So my father is a university professor, and we talked, different, diverse diverse subjects endlessly since my very childhood. And one day we talk about the philosophy, and the next day we're talking about the Buddhism, sciences. It's great. It was really great opportunity for me to develop the critical thinking. And my father inspired me, guided me to challenge the conventional thinking and always, see the things from the different angles, perspectives. So he is amazing, a great teacher, and he was awarded people's teacher, and he was a professor at the National University of Mongolia. And my mother, on the other hand, she is a teacher as well, and Mongolian language, and he is the really down-to-earth lady who urges me to work hard, and she's amazing. She's really outcome-based person, and she always urges the outcomes.
Outcomes. What is the result?
Yes, what is the result?
It doesn't matter your process. Give me the result.
Exactly. So these are the great people
so
who influenced me.
So your parents basically made you want to become teacher. Is that it?
No, they didn't. To
get involved in education.
Yeah, I mean education. Yeah, education, and I of course choose my own path. and teaching is my favorite thing to do. So I started teaching since my second grade, second year student at the university, because my professor asked me to work as an assistant teacher. So I wasn't almost like I wasn't a student as well. I mean,
you're a student or maybe a teacher.
Teacher. So yeah, and then after my graduation, I started my own small language school. You know, where I met you.
Yes, yes. I
So
remember.
you were my first. One of the first students.
Right?
So yeah, I'm really honored to see my students are now, you know, grown up, and they are doing a great job and in different fields. And I'm very proud of my students as a teacher.
As a tradition, we have to introduce you with your photos and curriculum vitae. So let's take a look at Miss Orkhon Gantogtokh CV. Who is she on papers? Let's talk about Mongolia and Mongolian higher education sector. Well, I have one study here. According to Global Competitiveness Index, a Mongolian graduate competency is ranked in 120th out of 140 countries. And by the enrollment in the universities, we are rated as 29th of 140. Why? These numbers, they are not matched. So where's the problem here?
Yeah, so many people, so many students are get enrolled to higher education. They're learning, they are studying in universities, but the graduate outcome is very low. Yeah, so we are.
Competency means the skills.
Yeah,
right?
the skills. Yeah,
skills are not good enough.
Yeah, good enough, and they are not matched with the labor market needs, you know, employers and companies' needs. So the companies are looking for good people who, you know, good skilled people who provide, who is very productive. You know, productivity is a very problem at the moment. So this statistics actually shows that the quality of higher education is an issue, big issue. So as a higher education researcher, I think this has two main reasons for this lower, you know, profile outcome. The first is related with the external influence. It's about the institutional framework. So higher education sector is the part of our society, part of our institutional framework. So if institutional framework is not good, you know, then the impact of higher education is not good. So that is the Helpmans and also the WOOF's, the research confirmed that those countries who have, you know, bigger and more effective higher education systems tend to have better institutional infrastructure.
We are talking problems, but I don't believe in that Mongolians are doing everything wrong. What are we doing right? And on top of that, I want to know, because you're a researcher in higher education system, higher education, what was the traditional method or system of education back in the historical times, maybe during the great Mongol Empire or the, you know, in the history? How was it? Did we have schools?
Yeah, the very first question about what we are doing good. Yeah, of course we are doing a lot of good things, and our higher education institutions are taking a lot of good initiatives. Notably, they are established their own faculty development centers, and all universities now have their, faculty development centers to improve their teachers, faculty members' teaching skills and research skills, which is great, initiative. The second thing is they have also established their internal quality assurance units, which means that internally they review their curriculum whether it's aligned with the labor market needs, and they also revise based on the feedback from the graduates and the employers. They are revising their curriculum internally. So that system is already it's started in place. It started to be in a place, which is a great sign. The third initiative is I have notes recently is that our universities are now working closely with the companies and industry. They working together to
The private companies.
Private companies, private companies to improve. The private companies are now quite capable. Our Mongolian brain companies are capable to invest in education. That's why they invest in research and cutting edge research, and they working with the universities to invest in the good students. They provide scholarships, which is great. Initiative, I think.
And I also asked about the traditional
yes.
methodology or the traditional way to educate kids.
Yeah, there was a kind of communist propaganda, early days, that Mongolians were all barbarians, and because of the communism, they became literate and they are educated. The first university was established only in 1941. Before then, it was all illiterate, uneducated nomads. That's nonsense. That's not true. I mean, our education history is very closely related with our, great history of the statehood, the Hunnu Empire, and then, Great Mongol Empire. And during the Great Mongol Empire, for example, Genghis Khan announced as the Mongolian script as the state script of the nation. And before then, of course, Mongolian tribes used the Mongolian script as their means of the literal means of the communication. So also the empire needs to educate their next generation leaders. That's why they invited noble people from around the world, and they educated the royal aristocrats' children, and the home teaching was flourished during that time. And then later on, when the Yuan dynasty, and Kublai King was very wise king, and he promoted the Buddhist teachings, and through enlightenment, through the Buddhist teachings, the Mongolian people's kind of goal was to be enlightened. So the education was very crucial means to get enlightened. So that's why he invested a lot to establish the monasteries, and the education flourished in the monasteries. So at the monasteries, 10 disciplines were taught to the disciples, including astrology, medical science, the logics, philosophy, all the kind of 10 disciplines.
These teachings are within the walls of monasteries.
Yes,
they were teaching sciences,
exactly,
logics, and different aspects of it.
Exactly. That's why we had, a lot of the beautiful chronicles, and the Tanjur, which is the kind of scientific book talking. They wrote about all different sciences, and they interpreted very important the Buddhist teachings, philosophical books. And the Tibetans invited Mongolian scholars to come to work in the Tibetan monasteries, and they admire those scholars. So those Buddhist monasteries, not only religious, but it was educational. And during the 18th and 19th centuries, the monasteries, of course, religious, religious-based education was taught, provided, but at home-based teaching was flourished during that time, and the aristocrats, they usually hire their home teachers, and they, educate their children to become a noble people. It's nomads, they are really educated, educationally minded people. That's why they send their children to become monks. And monks doesn't mean, to become kind of religious person, but its main reason was to become educated. That's the main reason.
So it was a trendy thing to get educated.
Exactly. That's why Mongolians are very educationally minded people, and we want to learn the best of the globe, not only about the national kind of knowledge, but more global knowledge and the skills we want to acquire. That's our attitude towards the learning. So we have a great history of education.
Because you're a lecturer and a teacher, when you are fired up, it's very hard to stop you. But anyway, we have, as you know, we have recorded one small video about you being teacher and lecturer. So let's take a look at that.
Our teams of experts, higher education researchers at the Academy of Higher Education Development have been working with the University of Humanities for the last 2 years to support their university-wide curriculum change effort. The reason why we are coming here to work with them is to guide their faculty members to self-evaluate their curriculum, their academic programs, and then revise the curriculum. So this kind of capacity building is the very crucial prerequisite for the effective curriculum change. So as a result of our effort, the mutual effort, University of Humanities has achieved to revise their old programs, and they are pioneering here to make, to change their curriculum more interdisciplinary oriented, which is the very important global trend in a higher education sector around the world.
Well, we have talked about education a lot, but this MNB World Talk Show is about you and your personal stories. And you are a mother of 3 children. What is the most challenging aspect of being mother? It's funny, but I mean, if I ask you the good thing about being mother, people will say, this and that. But what's the most challenging aspect, especially in today's society?
Yes, being mother is, amazing. At the same time, it's challenging. Yes, because I have this amazing 3 kids who have all different interests. For example, my eldest daughter, she has a lot of interest in academic world, like me, but at the same time, she has a lot of interest in arts and design because her father is an artist. So she has, it's kind of dilemma for her whether she pursue my side or her father's side. So it's like almost like sometimes it's a big debate is going on, and it's great to have the oldest daughter, because we are like friends, and we discuss things, and we debate, and we we share a lot of our ups and downs and together, and then we learn together, which is an amazing thing. But my middle son is he's very creative, and he has diverse interests as well, and he's very creative, and he is a great critical thinker. So sometimes he has more kind of very innovative ideas about the education and how he should pursue the education in their own mind, So as a mother, of course I want to support them, but at the same time I need to tell them if they go to the slightly different, wrong ways. So I need to, always, strike the balance and then express myself more wisely to my children, my opinion, and they are really open-minded, and because they had an experience of studying abroad at Oxford, they studied Oxford in London, so probably their critical thinking is quite well developed. So.
But what was the challenging aspect of being motherhood? You somehow go into education.
I know. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm kind of career woman, so I spend a lot of time on my work, so I spend a little time for my, I must say
children.
that for my children and for my household. So
Thank you for
it's a bad,
admitting.
bad mother. So, but what I can do for my children is, of course, the providing opportunity of education. So learning is, it's a lifelong fun. I mean, it's lifelong journey and enjoyment. So probably what I can do is that kind of attitude to learn more and appreciate the learning and celebrate the beauty of learning. That is what I do for my children.
Okay. So basically, you don't spend enough time with your children. that's your
Yeah, I try to.
challenge.
I try
Okay.
to. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I understand.
I'm just probably I'm showing example. That's what I do.
I mean, in today's world, so it is usual for quite so many people. Let's talk about other side of you. Your other half, your husband is an artist, and you are very much into. You're interested in art, and you mentioned that you love to watch and experience exhibitions, etc. What do you get from art?
Yeah, I get a lot of inspiration and a lot of ideas from the art, and also relaxation and the freshness from the beautiful art. And I particularly like those kind of art which has both traditional ethnic aspect as well as the contemporary style. So it's a mix. Whenever I like those kind of arts which is mixture of the indigenous art at the same time contemporary interpretation, and Soila's work, as the Soila's work is the best example of that style. I also the great fan of the Who band, and they are the Who is also the great example of that integration of tradition and the modern rock music. So. As an art lover, I want to, I do my best to promote Mongolian art and culture. Especially when I am abroad, I always see myself a kind of cultural ambassador of my country. So I, organized several art exhibitions in abroad, Oxford, London, and Dublin City. Also calligraphy exhibitions, and last time when I studied at Oxford, I was elected as the board member of the Art Society of the Wolfson College. So taking that opportunity, I put Mongolian artists exhibition and calligraphy exhibition, as well as organized the literary event about the secret history of Mongols. So it is always very rewarding, and it's great to see that how the international audience appreciates the beauty of Mongolian art and culture. So that is something I'm really passionate about, and it's kind of my hobby. At the same time, it's It's
In a
almost
way,
like
in a way you understand it as like a responsibility.
yes, possibly, yes.
Well, let's take a look at you doing calligraphy.
I must say I'm just amateur,
Amateur. Well, I mean, it is hobby. Hobby is hobby, you know.
In my free time, I visit art studios and galleries and exhibitions of Mongolian artists. So today I'm visiting my friend, artist Soilos art studio, and in my free time I come here to contemplate on Soilos artworks, recent art works, and as well as I also do my calligraphies in this beautiful artistic environment. I love calligraphy because this is our beautiful culture, literary culture. Even though we are not using a Mongolian script at the moment, our people are trying to revive Mongolian script, and the people appreciate the beauty of Mongolian calligraphy. In 1930s, Mongolian traditional script was abolished because of the communist regime, and we started to write in Cyrillic. But now Mongolian people are trying to revive its own traditional script, and the calligraphy is giving a lot of contribution towards making it more used by young people. That's why I am practicing Mongolian calligraphy and try to promote the Mongolian script, the reuse of the Mongolian script. I particularly like the Soilos artwork because I think this is the beautiful integration of traditional Buddhist paintings, Buddhist art, as well as the contemporary urban expressionism, and also the even surrealism, expressing the meaning of life through Soilos' own experience of Buddhist teaching on emptiness and enlightenment. I really love those artworks which has the contemporary style, but it has the ethnic or indigenous art essence.
My last question is about future and also about the change. What is your dream for the future for Mongolia? What do you dream of?
Yeah, I would like to quote the Dalai Lama. Once he said at the lecture which was held in London, and he mentioned that Mongolians made great change in the 13th century. So now Mongolians, it's the time for Mongolians to make a change through education, not through the military, power, but through the education. So that's really, inspiring for me. And my utmost goal and dream is to build up worldly renowned research university in Mongolia. Research university in Mongolia. As a higher education researcher, my dream is to have that kind of, to contribute to building up such great university, and where we invite all those Mongolians who live in outside Mongolia, and diaspora Mongolians who they come to Mongolia to get the great education, and not only diaspora Mongolians but also the international students come to Mongolia, and we want to become the center of excellence in the Central Asia. That's my dream.
Wow, that's great and very global big dream. Thank you very much for sharing it, and thank you for participating in our MNB World Talk show. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
My teacher.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, this has been Miss Orkhon Gantogtokh, and I hope you loved our conversation, our talk. Let's see you with our next episode. Until then, goodbye.